So, for everyone who's living under a rock right now, what is Final Fantasy 15?
So Final Fantasy 15, of course, is the 15th installment in the Final Fantasy franchise. It's an action RPG, fully open world that tells the story of Noctis and his three friends as they traverse through the continent and the world of Eos.
Awesome. Now, the gameplay is very unique apart from the other Final Fantasy games. Could you go into detail of how it's actually played and why you folks chose that kind of combat?
Sure, yeah. I think there's two main things that make Final Fantasy 15 feel different. One is how action-based it is and no longer turn-based. And I think the main reason of why the team really wanted to go in this action-based combat system is really to appeal to kind of modern gamers, as well as really appeal to anybody who likes video games these days. And then the second kind of big key pillar is the open worldness of the game. Sometimes Final Fantasy games, it feels like maybe you're on a critical path and you need to just kind of do one main mission, but the open world really makes no two experiences ever the same.
Now, when you first start the game, your car breaks down, and it's a very interesting scene because you're having lovely banter with your friends. Can you talk about the importance of the relationship that you have with the friends in your party?
Yeah, absolutely. So these three friends that you have, they've been your friends since childhood. And we actually released a full 5-part anime series called Brotherhood Final Fantasy 15 that tells exactly how Noctis became friends with each one of these guys. And so I don't want to spoil it on camera.
Of course.
You guys should definitely go check it out. It's on YouTube, it's on Twitch, it's everywhere right now. So you should check that out. But not only is there a really tight kind of bond between all of these four friends, is there the car actually plays a really significant kind of relationship part as well. So again, I don't want to spoil any storylines, but the car is actually really important too.
Now, some of the main mechanics in Final Fantasy 15 is the, hopefully I'm saying it right, the phasing and the warp sword. Can you go into a little detail about how you use that during the game?
Absolutely. So Noctis's kind of royal lineage has this ability to kind of phase through time and space. And so what he can do is he can take a sword and throw it from point A to point B, and that's called a warp strike. And so you can do that with a different combination of different weapons. But yeah, you use that throughout combat to not only use it as an offensive ability, but as a defensive ability too, to get out of battle and to restore HP and MP as well. So yeah, warp striking is definitely a big part of the combat mechanics.
With the addition of that action-oriented combat, the game seems also very cinematic as well. Final Fantasy is known for being a very movie-like thing. What did you guys do to create kind of a cinematic world with Final Fantasy 15?
It's definitely an interesting question. I think, yeah, like you said, Final Fantasy is always known for gorgeous graphics and really kind of vast environments. But I think you can look at every single detail, from the trees to the rocks to the mountains to the wildlife to really even the clothes on the guys, and see so much detail.
With Final Fantasy games, each of them are very independent, but they all share some certain things in them. Will fans of the earlier games see anything familiar when they're playing the game?
Yeah, there's a ton of things. I don't want to make this answer too long-winded, but let me go through a few things. So when you're in the car, you can cycle through all of the Final Fantasy kind of library of music, 1 all the way up until 14, and a few kind of tidbits here and there. Of course, there's chocobos in this game, so you can ride around on them and call on them at any time. Cactuars make an appearance, as well as we just announced that Moogles will be in Final Fantasy 15 as well. But there's all sorts of other things, like people who love Final Fantasy will appreciate the magic system in this one, which is all brand new. People will appreciate the skill tree and kind of how deep it goes. And so this skill tree is called the Ascension Tree. So it's completely different than the Materia system or Sphere Grid system or kind of what other players have experienced, yeah.
Awesome. And finally, when can people play Final Fantasy 15?
Awesome question. It's coming out on November 29th on Xbox One and PlayStation 4.